Good evening. This is Carla Nelson Chambers, and you are with us on Conference Room Conversations. We are so delighted that you are joining us this evening. We have several ways that you can join us, whether it's by YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn and even Twitter. So welcome, and whether we're watching us live or in Memorex, as us old folks say. Later on when it's tape. If you've never been born until like 1980, you don't know nothing about Memorex. But anyway, with that, I want to welcome my dear friend, Dr. Vikki Johnson. Vikki, she's one of those people that you don't have to talk to all the time, but when you talk to her, it just connects.
Please.
And I had the pleasure of meeting Vikki. It's like, we're not going to talk about how old we are, even though my hair gives it away, but it's been over a decade, Vikki, and we haven't seen each other in person since 2007. Because that's when I did Tea Time with the Authors at the Greenbelt Marriott, and you were our MC. And ladies and gentlemen who are watching this show, Tea Time with the Authors was wonderful. It was an opportunity for women who were self-published authors to get together and to talk about their books, talk about their experience. And we didn't have tea, we had lunch.
Right.
It was really good. And Vikki just kept it lively, kept it going, and kept us grounded and everything, and talked about the importance of us as women when, even though there's always been Women History Month, but nothing like what we have today. And so I love her spirit. I love how she is authentic with how when she asks you, how are you? She really means, how are you? And though we hadn't seen each other in a while, I'm like, well, Vikki, remember me? And I sent her some pictures. She's like, girl, I remember you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm not going to talk and give you her bio. You all can look her up if you choose to. But I want you to hear from Vikki talk to us about our soul wealth. And that's one of the name of her companies. And to talk about our mental fitness and how it's important. She just told me before we came on that she makes sure she does something every day to stay mentally fit. And so with that, Vikki, I think I'd want to just let you talk to our audience and talk about being mentally fit and being conscious of that on a daily basis, because that was a nugget for me. I kind of think about it once a week and I think I'm okay, but you're already teaching me something. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Carla. Thank you so much. It's such a wonderful blessing and privilege to reconnect, and the beauty of the grace that we give to one another is that when there is a genuine connection, it's easy. When time has passed, it's like no time has passed. So thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to share with you.
Absolutely.
Good evening, and your listening audience. I'm really passionate about this topic, particularly during Women's History Month. We make history every day, and we appreciate the month. But we make history every day because women are the center of it all. And frequently over the last couple of maybe 3 decades now that I've been doing this work with women, we're tired. Let me just go there. Just go to it. We are tired, and frequently we don't know we're tired because we're just doing what we do and being who we are. And that is all things to everyone, frequently giving everything away, and then we have nothing left for us. And I start there because to compound that exhaustion, the last 2.5, almost 3 years has been the pandemic. Once again, we're taking care of everyone else, giving it all away, and then kind of living on reserves and fumes. I come in that way to really frame what soul wealth is. Soul wealth is rooted in 3 John in scripture in the Bible, where it says God desires that we prosper and be in health, even as our souls prosper. Our soul is the seat of our emotions. So let me give you the Vikki translation of that text. God desires that we prosper and be in health, even as our emotions prosper. That means our lives can only be as healthy or as well as our emotions. And so the work that I do with women is to encourage, support, guide, provoke at times women to enter into immediately a season of selfishness and make it about you. You know, people, there was a colloquial saying, it's not about you. Well, I am here to challenge that status quo mindset and perspective, and to say, especially to the women, it is about you, because you cannot give away what you don't have. So the work of soul wealth, the lifestyle of soul wealth, is about filling up your tank first. If you fly, if you're a frequent flyer, as I am, and I'm sure you are, and many of those listening to us, you know, they in the safety instructions, put on your mask first, and then assist those who you're responsible for, whether it be children or another adult who needs assistance. And it's the same with life. You have to put on your mask first, fill up your tank first. And I say, you know, live from your overflow. Your capacity is for you. Your capacity is for you. We give, live, love, serve others from our overflow. And I like to use what is an indelible impression in my mind, which is my grandmother sitting in her kitchen when I was a little girl. And I would just be so fascinated how she would, with such grace, sit at her kitchen, her little dinette in her little tiny kitchen. It seemed big at the time, but now that I look back, I'm like, that was like a closet. But, you know, I was with my grandmother, and she would be drinking coffee. And in the 60s and 70s, you know, they didn't have these big Starbucks size cups and tumblers and things like that. Back then, they used to drink out of china, and these little china cups with the saucer. And my grandmother would sit and just sip her coffee, take her time, like this is my time, you know? She would just enjoy her coffee. And when she would pour her coffee, sometimes it would overflow and spill into the saucer. And when sometimes she would wait until she finished her coffee. Other times she would hold the coffee in this hand, pick up the saucer in this hand, and drink the coffee that fell over in the saucer, and then put the cup down. I share that little story because it really is an impression on my heart and my mind. Now, reflecting back, I know it was for the work that I'm doing now. It was a seed sown. We are to give to others from the saucer.
Whew.
The cup is for you. What's in the cup is for you. And so it is necessary sometimes to retrain ourselves, how we think, what we believe, how we move, how we make decisions, and every moment we live at choice. So regardless of how you have been up to this very moment, like literally this moment, what you do next is what matters. What you do next is how you can shift. And sometimes it's just a minor shift, a slight shift. But what you do next is what matters most. Give to other people. I don't care who it is. I'll say that again. I don't care who it is. Children, spouse, parent, best friend, job, business, church, ministry. I don't care who it is. Give to all of those others from the saucer.
So let me ask you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
How do I know, or when do I know when my cup is full and that I have reached capacity? And I think that in whether we're busy or not, as women, because we're so used to giving to others, and And you're right. Some of us have gotten better, and a lot of us have that guilt trip of being selfish. So how do I know what's the marker? And maybe it's different that when I know that my cup is full.
That your cup is full for you?
Yes, ma'am.
That you have the energy.
Okay.
That you have the energy. Very simply put, you have the energy to offer what's in the saucer to other people. It requires introspection, Carla, and it requires honesty. Tell the truth. You know, I like to say, stop betraying yourself so that everyone else can be okay. I know that well. I know what that feels like. You know what it feels like when you say yes and you really want to say no. You know what it feels like when you say no to yourself so you can say yes to someone else. You know what that feels like. Okay, I'm glad. What does it feel like? I'm glad you asked. It feels like resentment. It feels like frustration. It feels like irritation. It feels like impatience. It feels like anger. It feels like sadness. It feels like regret. Why did I do that? Why do I keep doing that? And there's no shame in what I'm saying. It's not shrouded in shame. As a matter of fact, it's shrouded and surrounded in profound love for you, to provoke you to love yourself. Can I share why it's so important to love yourself?
Absolutely.
It is important to love yourself because when we are born with a certain number of heartbeats. And barring a tragic accident or a tragedy or something else, if you're blessed to live out the number of heartbeats that were assigned to you when you were born, and each of us has a different number, then you will literally die of old age. You'll just take a breath and give your last breath because you used up all of your heartbeats. And when I heard Dr. Oz, honestly, say this when he was talking about heart disease and how it impacted women, this was maybe 10 years ago. I heard him say that. And then at the same time, I heard in my God mind, I'm going to call it, since I only have a certain number of heartbeats in this life, I need to make sure that whatever I do is worth the heartbeat, that it costs me, because heartbeats are like time. Once you use it, you can't get it back. So if you frame your choices moving forward through the filter of, is what I'm about to do worth the heartbeats is going to cost me, it will change your life.
That is so powerful. I'm like, I'm writing this down. I'm going to school. I don't know about nobody else. Right now, I don't care about anybody. I do care, but I am writing this down. And it was like, okay, whoo, that's why you just see me, because I don't want to stop the flow. But oh my God, I said a golden nugget, girl. I'm eating a meal. And I kid you not. One of our dear friends, a mutual friend of ours, I'm hearing her voice because she's learned this from you. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's what she was talking about. I mean, I understood it from her, but it was like, oh, really? I really get it. I really get it now. But it's I appreciate that. If I've learned nothing else already, I know when my cup is full. Having the energy, and that technically that doesn't work for me, and I'll say why in a minute. But I like when you're feeling resentment and the frustration, or why did I say that? I am, that really works. That resonates. Or when I get this, I gotta do it. I don't want to do it, but I gotta do it. Bad enough we have to do certain things on our jobs, in our business. We don't have a choice. We have to do it if we want to succeed. But
Right.
then you're right, when I have to give to somebody else, that's a whole different, I don't want to do it. And I like what you said. I shouldn't have to waste a heartbeat on that.
Yeah, you should not. And another marker in addition to energy is joy. Does this bring me joy?
So
Does
that
this
part
light me
works.
up?
That works for me because I get joy when I'm doing things for other people. And sometimes I do it when I may not have any energy, but it's like it fills my cup up. That was what I was going to say. So it's, sometimes I don't have the energy, but because I know I'm going to make a difference in somebody else's life, I want to do it. And then when it happens, I'm like, yes. And I feel like, I've accomplished my mission for the day, because I do ask God to use me, God, however you see fit, whatever it is, because I already know that he's going to use me in the way because he made me the way I'm going to, that's going to work.
And you just gave actually a God formula, a divine formula, because scripture says the joy of the Lord is our strength, right? So if you tap into your joy, you tap into your strength. Even in that, we are to be mindful. We are to be mindful of where we expend our energy budgets, where we expend our joy budgets, right? Because what is important is to make sure that you save some for yourself, that you put some aside for yourself so that you'll have that reserve when you need it.
Woo! Woo! So my girl Michelle Howard is about to hop in. Girl, you hopping in at the right time. Woo, girl.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Dr. Vikki.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Look, I was rushing from DC to try to get in this evening to jump in on the show. And I was like, I don't want to miss what she's saying.
Girl, you're going to have to rewind the tape.
I know that's right. Oh,
because Vikki, the reason why I say that is because Michelle and I talk a lot about what we do that's important to us and who we do it with. And we are all about being authentic. That's a word I know about, but I learned to put it in my vocabulary from our dear friend Sandra. Sandra is like, I'm coming from a place of being authentic. I'm going to work and live in being authentic. And I'm like, me too. I'm going to take that one. And so Michelle and I, we talk about our angel warriors. Yeah. And you already know what that means. We talk about having a circle of trust. Yeah. And one of those in that circle of trust and having your angel warriors, they help you when you don't have that energy, when your cup is not full. So, and I think we do it. When I say we, I'm talking about our circle of women that are there for us. While we can give from the saucer, sometimes we do give from the cup, but it's okay, because there's going to be a time when she's going to give, I'm going to give from my cup and she's going to give back. Right. And that there is good, but a lot of us don't have a circle of trust. We don't have angel warriors. And it's not that we didn't want them. It's just one of my colleagues, she said, I'm in a male dominated industry and I work around a lot of men. And now that I'm working from home, I'm not getting out. And so she's looking for that space. And I'm praying and hoping that this space is working for her until, we can get together physically. And so I'm learning that there are women that are still we're in our bubble because of our jobs or whatever. And it's hard to get that circle of trust, those angel warriors, and which is another reason why I love this platform. But in what you have said thus far, yeah.
I want to just speak to that sister, right, that you're talking about, because that's a tender spot for me when women feel isolated is the word, and alone. And I just want to offer that it can also be an opportunity to create your own circle. Because if you don't have a circle of sisters, create one. And it goes back to being selfish. So someone might say, well, Vikki, how am I going to do that? Lean in to the things that you love. What do you love doing? What brings you joy? Is it walking in the park? Is it bowling? Is it going to get your nails done? Like I'm just tossing out activities that we do, right?
Is it playing in dirt? I love planting.
Whatever it is.
Yes.
Gardening. Sports. Like there is a tribe for everything. I don't care if you like throwing eggs up against a wall. You can find a whole community of people who will throw raw eggs up against the wall. They have tournaments and everything. Like there is a community. I'm telling you, you can Google it. If you type it on YouTube, you'll find out where they are. If you go on Meetup or Eventbrite, there is a circle for everything. So to that sister, I just want to say you don't have to live at the mercy of your isolation. You can create a circle, and it doesn't have to be a big one. I just want to just offer that tool as hope. Yeah,
it really shouldn't be a big circle. Whatever that number is. Now, I do have several circles, for several different, just because of life experiences. And I will never forget when I started my first business decades ago, there were men and they said, your friends will change. And
yes.
Like, no, yes, they will. When you go into business, your friends will change because they work in a 9 to 5, you work in a 9 to 9. And, throughout your day, you might be able to get away. And mind you, we're talking the 90s. So it wasn't about, where things were just different. And so you had to hit the clock. You were good to get a half an hour lunch. If you got an hour lunch, but then you still have to be wherever you're working. And when you work for yourself, if I want to take a 2-hour lunch because it's a slow day or whatever, I can do that. If I want to go get my nails done during the day and I don't have to wait till the weekend, I can do it. And then, when you used to going with your friends, you can't do that. And sure enough, my friends changed. And what you talk about is different.
Yes.
When you're a business owner. And so while I still do have my other friends, but that's a different circle for a different time. So yeah, but you got to start out with one. So
Dr. Vikki, I'm so glad that you did address that or to say that, because the pandemic itself, regardless if you're working at an agency, entrepreneur, doesn't make a difference. The pandemic itself has put people in a lonely place.
Yes.
They have had to adapt to working from home versus, constantly being in the office or being around people. Now, for some, that's a good thing because they want to be alone, right? But for those who jobs put them out amongst people where their careers is networking and they have to be out there, a lot of those types of women, since we are talking about women, because it affects men too, but we're talking about women tonight, it has affected them in a way that they did not expect.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to say that, I'm going to tell you, that's powerful, because I have talked to some women who just said, I didn't know how this whole working from home, learning to do stuff virtually as far as how you communicate, how you correspond, they didn't understand that it would have that type of effect on them emotionally, where they would have that feeling of loneliness.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you, it's a scary thing. Just really do, because it's like, so how do you get back out there? It's almost like, yes, things are trying to start opening up. You have the mask wearing versus no wearing, just trying to get back into the networking zone, getting back into how do you feel publicly being out there. And it's such a struggle.
It is a challenge. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for me. And and in all transparency, it's a challenge for me. One, I'm a living kidney donor, so I only have one kidney. Okay. And so my health is top of mind for me.
Right.
And I just had to make a decision very early in the pandemic in March, honestly, of 2020, that I was going to lean in to not only what my personal physician said, because I have an amazing relationship with her. I also had to lean into God, and I had to lean into my body. I had to listen to my own body and trust the wisdom of God in my body. And it has served me well. If I'm not comfortable, I haven't been doing a lot of socialization. I'm kind of easing my way back out there, but I understand both sides of it. As a matter of fact, I started hiking during the pandemic to get outside in nature, to get grounded, and I'm still hiking, several miles every weekend now. And so I bring that up to say it's an opportunity to reset as well, an opportunity to start doing some things you've never done before, stop doing things you've always wanted to stop doing. In every moment, this is what I want to say. We live at choice. You always have options.
Yeah.
You always have options. And just know that. You don't have to do anything. It's an opportunity for you to really go within and get honest with yourself. What am I doing that I no longer want to do anymore?
Yes.
What haven't I done that this is an opportunity for me to try? Like, this is a gift. It's what you say it is. It's what you say it is. You give power with your words. You put wind in the sail of your life with what you say, with what you say. And if you say it enough, you'll believe it. And if you believe it long enough, you'll behave that way. And your life will then begin to reflect one of fulfillment. And this is big for me, especially because the audience, the women that I serve, they're 40 plus, right? So they've experienced some life. I'm like, use this to reset your life and do it now. Like, don't wait. Do it now.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, Michelle and I. Go ahead, Michelle.
I was saying that is so powerful. The wind that moves you, right? Because it's a motivational thing when the women have, been doing that whole virtual lonely thing. Because the thing about it, I have found out more people live alone than with someone, right? I mean, I live alone too. That's how the conversation came up. And it's like, how do you motivate yourself? Because a lot of times you get motivated from other people, right? And when the situation doesn't always, it's not always a veil that you can be around other people for that. It's almost like, how do you dig deep, and what are the things that you do as a woman to just like you said, start something new, right? Go think about those things or list out those things. What have you always wanted to try, right? And it's like, you can do that, but then you need to get that motivation together to be able to experience just at least one of the things on your list.
And you're absolutely right, because one of it's almost, what were the things that brought me joy when I was younger, when I didn't have all these obligations? And it could have been when you were a child, or it could have been when a teenager, but whenever things weren't so hectic. And sometimes you'll find that is what gave you joy then. I know for me, that's why I said I love being in dirt. I didn't make moon pies, but I started early off learning how to garden because of the next door neighbor. I watched her and my mother, and I wanted to do something. And so my mother asked her, can she learn from you? And the lady said, absolutely. And the first thing, the easiest two things to grow is green beans, because they pop up quickly through the soil. And that's a whole nother talk show about what goes on underneath the earth before you see it. But and then marigolds. So though they stink, but marigolds are one of the best flowers. They provide, that's a conversation too. But marigolds provide a lot of benefits in a garden, both a vegetable garden and a flower garden. And I was able to do a lot of house plants. And then I got to a point where I killed everything in the house. I was like, okay, I don't have the green thumb anymore. Well, I realized it was because I was so darn busy that during that time in my life, I was outside of the house. I didn't have time to take care of it. Now, when you and I want you to touch on that, Vikki, about the everyday thing that we talked about earlier. But now my breaks were, especially during the pandemic, going outside, looking at my garden, planting. And I was grateful to God that I had an outside garden to go to. And I started thinking about those people in apartments. And so that's when you learn, how do I accommodate? Get you a house plant, get some tools or whatever, do something. Because when you are responsible for another living thing, it gives you a reason to get up and everything. But I want you to talk about that, the piece about what was, but you know what I'm talking about. Because
when I'm done, when I'm done,
you do every day. What you do, the mental fitness piece that you do every day.
That how I ground myself. I go outside. Yeah, I go outside, and hopefully the sun is shining. But because we're up here in the Mid-Atlantic in the Northeast, there's been times where the sun has not been shining. However, I hiked through all 4 seasons. I hiked in summer, spring, winter, and fall, and it's relevant. So I was like, I see people hiking in the snow all the time. So I went to the sporting goods store and said, how do people hike in the snow? How do they stay warm? How do they keep their feet dry? So I bought all this winter hiking gear and I kept doing it. So it's the being outside, because you know what? The sun is always shining, even when we can't see it.
Right.
Yep.
So you're getting what you need, right? So every day, I'm very mindful of getting grounded. And what I shared with Carla, Michelle, was every day I get grounded. I, do what I have to do. And when I'm done for the day, I'm done. Like I just kind of lean in, like how you said, oh, I got to get out of here because there's somewhere I want to be. I want to do this. I kind of do that every day. Like, that's it. I'm done. I can't do anything else. I'm not going to try to do anything. I'm done. I just
close the laptop,
shut down my computer.
Yep.
And
my computer. I'm done. Do all these other things that women do. That's it. And then I shift. And it became really important working from home, because I needed to shift the energy in my home from it's time to work to it's time to relax and decompress. So important. And then my ritual before I go to sleep became important. I turn on my diffuser. I have a linen spray that I spray. I have a cup of tea. Like, I just started being deliberate. And that is the word. Be intentional.
Yeah.
Be kind and
you're absolutely right.
Be kind to yourself.
I just started, being deliberate. Couple of weeks now, almost a month. I have been doing I'm done. So at this time, the computer has to go off. I mean, I'm like, you're so right. And you said it clearly, whereas I'm now understanding what I'm doing. But you said it more clearly, because like I had just got to this point that I'm like, okay, this virtual thing makes me feel like I'm working 24 hours a day, right? And I enjoy reading a lot of leadership books. I mean, I do coaching and mentoring and things like that. And I'm like, okay, you're not mentoring yourself, right? So what I had to do was, I'm like, okay, no, I'm done. I will jump on that tomorrow, because I really needed that mental shift, not realizing that I did, but it's just I figured it out of frustration.
Yeah.
That I didn't have
That's one of those words.
Right. I didn't have the energy level that I would normally have for me to go outside or go sit on the porch or go walk. It was just like mentally, I was just done. Right. And I'm like, okay, I want to be done with one thing so I can embrace another.
Yeah.
And like I said, it hasn't been quite a month, but that mental shift I'm learning is so important. For me to be able to be done, with certain things, shift over to this other thing that I want to do or want to enjoy, or what is it of that other thing that is benefiting me? Is it benefiting me mentally or physically? Is it something that's making me feel happy where it's emotional, right? I really had to do that shift because I was frustrated with I cannot be working like this. I don't want my life just to be all work. And I could feel the drain. I felt like I told my daughter, I said, she called to check on me. I said, "Oh, I feel like a computer unplugged. I'm just a walking computer. Like, I don't want to feel that way." Right. Because my mind was just constantly working. And so, I'm so glad that you said it in a way that makes better sense.
Your way makes sense too. It really does. Your way makes sense too. We get to customize our self-care, and one is not better than the other. And I just want to offer, because I have chills like right now, because I feel like there are women who are listening to us right now who this is resonating with deeply, and what they're feeling is, gosh, I want that. I need that.
Yes.
How do I do that?
So Vikki, before you go there, the one woman that I mentioned, and I said that she's in a male-dominated industry, and she texted me and said, "Hitting home tonight," with a bunch of hearts all around it. And I said,
that's so great.
"Can I share without saying your name?" She was like, "Absolutely."
Great.
So I'm getting chills because, and I'm gonna be a good girl and not cry, because I get emotional and I cry when I'm happy, when I'm sad. But this is the goal of having these conversations. So I want you to share, knowing that you've already hit the ball out the park with some of our listeners.
That's so great. That's why we do what we do. That's
why you got the chills.
That's why we do what we do. That is what drives me. That is one of my main drivers. And so it's to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Ask questions and then live the answer. For example, what do I need in this moment? And then just wait. Slow down. Breathe. I post that on my social media every day. Breathe. Because most of us shallow breathe. We don't take a full breath throughout the day, not even one full breath. Because if you take a full breath, it would slow you down, because your lungs would fill up, your diaphragm would fill up. It takes a long time to take a full breath. And I cut it off. I still cut it off. It takes a long time. And then exhale really slowly. That takes a long time. What do you need? What do I need in this moment? What am I feeling in this moment?
Yes.
Why is that triggering for me? Why am I sad? Why does my stomach hurt?
Right. No, I get it. I so get it.
Why do I have a headache every time I go around this person?
I so get it.
I'm serious. I have, from the beginning of the pandemic, because I'm a chaplain and an elder as well in the church, from the beginning of the pandemic to now, I have participated in over 60 funerals.
Oh my God.
And I stopped counting. So for me, this is very real, right? You get to do something different with the next choice you make that is for you. What do you need? Ask yourself that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? Do you need more joy? Do you need therapy? Do you need to talk to someone?
Right.
Do you need to laugh? Do you need to laugh? Do you want something sweet? Like literally, you know what to change my mood, Michelle? You know what changed my mood? A good slice of chocolate on chocolate cake.
Ooh, that my daughter loves that.
I'm the brownie person. I'm like for brownie and ice cream. I'm good.
My daughter absolutely loved that. But you know, the whole concept of what you are saying, oh my God, is so powerful, because when you were saying just breathe, just to, you know what, it's like that was the deepest breath I took all day. When you said that, I just was like, you know, and I went like, and it I feel a little better, right?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like when you said that, it was like a command: breathe, just breathe. And from the type of day that I had, it was like, wow, I'm so glad she said that, because I needed to just breathe.
Yeah.
I needed to release, and tonight I am releasing. I'm so glad that you're on the show, because when you said that, I could feel it, and I didn't know I needed it, because I've
So
been.
to that point, Michelle, let me just frame something right there, please. Think about how many days, weeks, months, years women go without taking deep cleansing breaths.
Wow.
And then that is compounded by environmental factors, by emotional, mental, political, social unrest. Everything is compounded. And what it turns into is disease, which is a lack of ease, a lack of peace. Emotion suppressed becomes depression. And eventually, your physiological systems begin to shut down, and your body is trying to figure out what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look up and you're on medication, you need surgery, you don't know where things came from.
Right.
And the truth is, our bodies will heal themselves if we give our bodies what they need, starting with oxygen. So breathe,
Something that
everybody.
simple.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Something that simple. Mm-hmm.
Breathe. And I challenge myself sometimes to take 10 deep breaths in a row.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy to do.
Mm-mm.
I get to like 5 or 6, and then my brain goes somewhere else because my mind is like you, Michelle. I'm always thinking, right?
Yes.
I'm like, gosh, I stopped at 6. I start over.
Oh
Like I'm challenging myself. It's a challenge to do 10 deep breaths in a row. Just try to do 5 before you go to bed tonight.
Oh, I definitely will, Dr. Vikki. I definitely will, because just taking that one breath, it was like on a command. You said that, and I sat here and I'm like, but it was like when I did that,
It felt great, right?
I felt better than I did when I popped in, right? Because I was still hyped up from my day, from rushing in, trying, to do these different things. And I'm telling you, I am trying to come up with Team Michelle, right? I'm trying to come up with a regimen for Team Michelle, because I need to take care of my health mentally better, instead of being a 24-hour working clock. I need to take some of that out of there and insert the happiness, or what do I want to do? What makes me feel a different way, or
Yeah.
and going back to that circle as well, when you talk about those who are in these different circles, I need to find the joy circle.
How about that?
Because my circles, it's family and it's work, those two. But I need to have that joy circle. That doesn't mean that I have to be with family, right? So I am on the venture of finding a joy circle to help me to better, how you say, take care of my mental, emotional control of being able to just say, I'm feeling so good right now. Or I'm feeling so good today. You know, me and my girl, we was laughing. That joke was so funny, you know, and no work was talked about. Because I'm gonna tell you, I love the brand that I have in my career and the work that I do. I wouldn't trade that in. But it doesn't mean that every time you see me, I want to talk about
work.
Right.
You know, you seem like, oh, Michelle, how you doing? You know what? I wanted to ask you a question.
But you know what, Michelle, that also means that those people, and I'll be honest, to a degree, don't know you. They don't know Michelle. Mm-hmm. They know Michelle Howard that works at, you know, Michelle Howard that's a part of this organization, Michelle Howard that, you know, it's almost like, you know, most men, when they say, what do you do for a living? Well, everyone knows Michelle because of what she does, because she's got this awesome career, but no one knows Michelle. You know, my sister's name is Michelle with an I, but no, and I'm just saying, nobody knows Mitchie. Nobody knows Shelly. You know, nobody.
So my family calls me Shelly.
Right.
You know, because I'm gonna tell you, Dr. Vikki, you are so on point tonight. Because my daughter has literally said in different occasions, she has said, all right, mommy, we want Shelly. We don't want Michelle. Okay. I'm just letting you know we don't want her. We need Shelly here tonight. Okay. And I'm like, wait. And she's like, no, because you always on. Turn that off, Mom. Turn that off. We want Shelly. And I was like, I don't know if that's offensive or not. You know, but you know, I had to think about what she said. If I'm telling this story, that meant it stuck to me. It stuck to me for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, and she'll probably be like, you said that. Yeah, you said. I'm telling that story because it resonated for a reason with me, that my daughter, she's grown, you know, and we're at a family function, and she literally said, not tonight. We want Shelly. No, mommy, we don't want Michelle. Leave her out. We want Shelly. And you know what it did, Dr. Vikki? It made me question, do I know Shelly?
Ooh.
Right? Because I've been Michelle for so long. Like Shelly, I know Shelly is fun and enjoys it. Like, I need to find her, and I need to understand at this age, what does Shelly like?
That is so awesome.
Yeah, because what Dr. Vikki is saying tonight is such an eye opener for me to really ask the questions, like you said. But the question is for Shelly because I want to rediscover her.
Yes.
I really do. I want to rediscover her.
It's almost like what we've seen in or we've heard. I don't want to be mommy. I don't want to be Dr. So-and-so, you know, if you're a doctor. I don't want to be whatever they call you at work. I don't want to be wife. You know, I just want to be whatever your name is. Like you said, I want to be Shelly. Yeah. If you have a nickname. It's funny. I'm blessed to have two bonus sons, and one of my bonus sons had nerve said, Miss Carla, punch out. I thought I was being helpful. We were at a social event. I'm not gonna say the event. We were, and I went into event planning mode, like it was, because it is my middle name. And he said, "Punch out." And I was like,
That's great.
It is awesome. And so, that's the cue word for me. Some people would think of taking my husband said punch out. If I was like, no, they know me. I need to punch out because doing event planning, networking, and at these social events, well, you need to tell. And next thing you know, I'm hooking two people up, and it's like, stop.
Yes, stop.
Because I think I'm just, I'm being me. I want to hook people up because you doing this and you doing it. Y'all need to get together, and it's like, like you said, we don't want Michelle, we want Shelly. And so I have been told punch out. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you, it's so bad. At my wedding, my sister-in-law, at the reception, because someone dropped the ball and things weren't given out to certain people that were very important in my life. I noticed the folks were leaving and they were leaving without their bag. And I was like, wait a minute. And I went in my wedding dress and all, and I had my flats on. I took my big, but in my wedding dress, I'm grabbing the bag, putting the things in there to make sure that these people got them. And my sister-in-law came and she said, stop it. She said, this is your reception. What do you need me to do? And I couldn't tell her because these were people that I knew. And I couldn't find the list for what the other person was supposed to do. And when I think about that, I still get little rocks in my jaws. But when I look at the wedding pictures and it's like, dang, folks had a good time. Everybody was dancing and everything. And I missed out. And because I was like, was so-and-so there? Were they dancing? I missed this record. And everybody, yeah, but you weren't dancing. I was not living in my supposed best moment. My best moment in my life literally was my wedding. But I couldn't thoroughly enjoy it to the nth degree because I went into event planning, got to get it done mode, and it's got to get done today. And I'm upset because the person who I trusted to do it didn't do it. And I just should have. And I'm learning how to let that stuff go because there's always another day that you don't get another wedding day. You don't get another wedding reception. And so I don't kick myself in the butt, but that's a life lesson that I will not repeat. So, yeah.
Breathe, Carla. Breathe.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Vikki, you know what I wanted to ask you? Carla was telling me that you have some books.
Yeah.
You have, so can you, because I don't know about them. Can you just say?
Okay, awesome. Yes. So you can, I just want to invite there on my website, VikkiJohnson.com.
Okay.
I have my most recent books there. Soul Wealth is the most recent book that I released in August of 2019, right before the pandemic. That was God. It's called Soul Wealth, Finding Vision, Compassion, Authenticity, Abundance, and Legacy in the Midst of Chaos.
Oh,
no, that's a long title. That is the name of the book. Prior to that, on my website is also Vikkiisms, and that's just a collection of daily affirmations, nudges, prompts. And then also on my website is Addicted to Counterfeit Love. And that's a book that I wrote originally in 2007 and re-released it in 2014. And that's about just finding the power in relationships filled with God's love God's way. And I kind of amplify it by embellishing all the things that women call love that aren't love. And kind of end up at, so when you know what it's not.
Okay. Thank you.
You have a frame of reference for what it is. So those books are on my website. Again, VikkiJohnson.com. Would love to sign in and send it to you. And I have some other products there as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
We've got about 7 minutes left, 7-8 minutes. Also talk about your podcast, please.
Oh, my podcast. I have a daily radio show, The Soul Wealth Radio Show, which you can also listen to that on my website. You go to my website, VikkiJohnson.com, and the link is right at the top. You can go and there's a catalog. I'm almost at 300 episodes of that show, and it's wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. It airs every day at 10 a.m. Eastern on dcradio.gov. And then it's on all podcast platforms under the DC Radio banner. But if you just want to go straight to Soul Wealth Radio on my website, you can go right to the SoundCloud link via my website and just go back and listen to all these amazing conversations with some incredible people.
You know, that is so awesome. I'm so glad that you came on the show.
Me too. I am too.
I'm so glad you came on the show.
Shelly,
let me tell you, because I'm like your cheerleader now, like Dr. Vikki.
Vikki, like, you know, in moments like this, I am Vikki. You know, people say, what do you want me to call you? I said, my name. You know, just call me Vikki. That's fine. Because moments like this are transforming. They really are. Yes. I believe that. Serendipity, you know, everybody has a word over their life, and my word is serendipity. Every moment in my life is so serendipitously aligned that I know this conversation, this moment, and not just this one, I'm sure every week is powerful. This conversation, I know, is life-changing, it's shifting, it's provoking, because that is the grace that's on my life. That is the oil of God that is on my life. I am a provoker, right? I'm gonna provoke you with love, with some laughter, and with care, compassion, and deep, deep, deep concern for, you know, your well-being, your soul wealth. And God gave me soul wealth in December of 2014 when I was preparing for my TED Talk, and it was on the power of sacred sisterhood. When women connect, collaborate like we're doing, and create community, the result is soul wealth. 3 John, I desire that you prosper. It came to me just like that. It was just a download. Just the way I said it is the way I believe God just like opened up my brain and dropped it in there. And I've been running with it ever since. And it's my mission to flood the earth with soul wealth. And I'm so happy to be here with you ladies tonight. I know some powerful women.
You know,
I appreciate. We got some comments that came in while we were doing the show, and I just want to shout out to Michael Randolph. He says hello from Tampa, and then we have Carla Moselle. I love that. Is what I'm about to do worth a heartbeat? You know, she was shouting that out. And then last but not least, we have Robin Gibson. She says, I can totally relate to you, Shelly, laughing out loud, and Carla. My daughter tells me that I never turn it off too. So I just want to say thank you for those who commented during the show. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate when you tune in with us too, because I'm going to tell you, Vikki, I'm about to say Dr. Vikki, but Vikki, you have been awesome. And
thank you.
You did some excellent provoking this evening, because you helped provoke me so I could take that breath that I needed to take. And I feel, I'm gonna tell you, I just feel better. I feel like when I took that breath, I relieved that day, like today, whatever that was, it's just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with that. And I'm in a much better space this evening to come down. And to relax my mind. And, you know, yes, I'm going to prepare for tomorrow, but I'll prepare in a better mental space getting ready. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry, I just, my one friend, and she's going to be in my circles. I'm just letting her know on camera right now, you're about to be in my circle. She just said, Michelle, preach. And I told her, you need to put these comments on YouTube, because, you know, I am grateful, and this is life-changing, Vikki, because this is from what we did a decade ago when we were doing Tea Time with the Authors, and we were talking about how can women get together and support each other, and this was all around women who wrote books about where they were at the time. And now we have this platform, and regardless of whether we meet in person or not, we still have this platform, you know, to be able to talk to one another. More importantly, though, this is what God has, when things like this happen, I say God is doing a little jig. God is dancing because he's like, my girls, my babies, my children, male or female, but my children are doing what I birthed them in the earth to do.
Absolutely.
Because, I say, if we talk about we're here, it's not just sitting on a bench and especially in church and soaking up a sermon. You're supposed to be out helping somebody else to live their best life, to live their better life, to find out what life is. And when someone is commenting and saying, this hit home for me, I take that serious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, God, thank you. Thank you for using me. Thank you for being that vessel. And she put it in the chat there. It's in the chat. I am so grateful that God used you, Vikki, to be a blessing to our audience, those that are listening to us live, those who will look at this later. I am very, very grateful. And because the other piece is, as I'm counting, we're done, but I just want to say this and say thank you, because you could literally save a life right now with what we have experienced, knowing what people are going through nowadays. We could have saved a life, emotionally, physically, whatever. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. This will not be the last time. Yeah. So people,
it was worth every heartbeat.
Yes, ma'am. How about that? Thank you. I'm worth your heartbeats.
There you go.
People, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Apologize for going over, but I am so grateful for this evening. And please go to Conference Room Conversations on YouTube. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button. Please go to VikkiJohnson.com and just get everything. And until next week, good night.